Yugi to give us his opening remark. Thank you. Dr. Ayugi, are you present?
Hello, Jensek.
Yes, hello?
Yes, it seems like it's like Dr. Ayugi is struggling to do that, but if he is not on quickly, you may stand in for him or something, someone else.
Yeah,
Check out.
I was also suggesting that we wait for 5 minutes so that other people can join us, because now we just have 20 people and just 2 minutes after 8 p.m. So, dear moderator, can you wait? Can we wait 5 minutes, or I just try to do the opening remark?
It's fine. We can.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Sure. Yes. Yes. We can wait.
Hey, Lina Cashman.
这种分传流1.7赫兹，还有很多高频信号。
I think we can proceed with the program.
Okay, thank you. Dear moderator, can I?
Okay. Thank you so much, our General Secretary.
Is here.
You can go ahead to give the opening remark. Thank you.
Ayugi is here.
Ayugi is here. Okay, I will hand over. Dr. Ayugi is around. So I will hand over to him for the opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Ayugi, thank you and welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I really feel so guilty that I thought I was the first person, but then I checked in and I found almost 30 people already logged in. My sincere apologies for this. My name is Ayugi Brian, a Kenyan by nationality and Vice President OAAD. And I'm so privileged and so grateful for each and every members, especially the librarian students who have made a very gentle sacrifice to open our eyes as Africa, especially in this area of the scholarship preparation. And today we are going to learn how to prepare our CV a document that every other person is able to have as the first entry point to knowing you. And so this is a very, very important aspect that we must take an opportunity to learn the skills, how to prepare the CV, because when you have a wrong CV, you have missed the chance. Once again, I want to say thank you so much to the organizers, and also so grateful that OAD is providing this platform to ensure that each and every nationality from Africa is equipped both in the skills, in the knowledge, and in every area of preparatory for us to be the best person in this world. And so I just want to welcome everyone that please remind the people from your country, from the younger generation who are still looking to be in the job market, tell them to log in. This is an opportunity we cannot miss, so that in all this way, we can all tap the eminent knowledge that we cannot even learn from books. And so to this end, I will take it to the next speaker to do the introductions. And for me, I'm so grateful that I'm being part of this generation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to hear from you, and your opening remark is so quite refreshing. So please, by introduction, I would like to introduce some of the partners who had helped or contributed in one way or the other to saying that this training is a success. So I would start by introducing the Liberian Students Union in China. It was established in July 2006 as a student-based group. The focal point of the organization is to provide an effective and efficient platform to enhance participation among Liberian students in China. LSUIC's mission is to cultivate, maintain the morale of students, as well as provide an amicable learning atmosphere for achievement and success. The union promotes affiliation among its members despite social, cultural, and political orientation. So the next partner which I will be introducing is the Organization of African Academic Doctors, OAAD Global. OAAD Global is a non-profit organization that is open to PhD holders and PhD students of who are Africans across the globe. Established as an academic research implementation and development center, the vision of OAAD is to enhance the quality of life in Africa through research, then technology and innovation. We have a mission statement, which is the doctrine of solution for African and the world. Our main objective is to bring African intellectuals together and foster development while engaging relevant internal and external stakeholders. Another partner I will be introducing is the Federation of Beninese in China. So this is a cultural organization which holds together Beninese in China to pay attention to the well-being of fellow compatriots and support the diplomatic mission of Benin Republic in China for advancement of people-people relationship built on the foundation of burgeoning bilateral diplomatic relations between the two countries. Another partner which I will be introducing today is Next Level Educational Foundation International. This global organization with board members from Nigeria, China, Canada, and the United States of America, with a mission to facilitate removal of educational barrier towards optimization of human potential at individual, institutional, community, and country level. So with moving forward to the business of the day. Hello.
You can proceed. I'm trying to mute them.
Please, can we remain muted? Please. Moving on to the business of the day, I would like to introduce our first speaker in person of Mohamed Yate. He's from Sierra Leone, presently in China. So Mohamed Yate is a doctoral student at Tongji University in the College of Environmental Sciences and Engineering, majoring in environmental science and engineering. His research is focused on water supply management and treatment system, which are integrated into a broad range of research to obtain a viable approach to water resource management. Prior to his PhD program, Yete worked as a public health engineer for Oxfam, Great Britain, and focused primarily on water, sanitation, waste management, and hygiene promotion WASH projects. These projects include and not limited to borehole, on the design of borehole and the construction of gravity water supply system, landfill design, just to name a few. So today, he'll be discussing on how to prepare your CV and personal statement for scholarship. Please, Mohammed Yati, you have the floor. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, thank you. Nice
Yeah.
to have you. Yes.
Good evening, Linda.
Good
Can you see my
evening. Yes, we can see your screen.
good evening to you all, and good evening or good afternoon to you all, and you're welcome wherever you're watching us. It's a great honor for me to share my experiences on how to write a CV and study plan for a scholarship application. Hold on, hold on a bit. I'm having an issue with my. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me as well?
Yes, yes. Yes, we are hearing you.
All right, thank you. Without wasting much of time, I'll start with my presentation. Our presentation is going to talk on two areas, key areas. That is of the personal statement. First of all, we start with our curriculum routine. The first question that normally comes into our mind is, what is a CV? So for the sake of our understanding, we are going to discuss CV into four main key areas. First of all, a CV is a Latin for course of life. And then in contrast, is like in French, we normally call it a resume, and which in English, it means like a summary. So both CVs and resume are tailored for a specific position, which you're applying to. They present you as the best qualified candidate. So in this case, we have two types of CV normally. We have what we call the job CV, which basically presents a concise picture of your skills and the qualifications for a specific position you're applying to. And also, when you talk about an academic CV, this is a documented list of a person's entire education, like your publications, your accomplishments, and some of the projects you have undertaken, your awards, honors, and as well as your past, your professional experiences. So in one document, you are trying to sum up your whole career in detail, focusing mainly on academic side. So based on these two definitions, we want to know what is the role of a CV. So the role of a CV basically is to capture the attention of the scholarship provider so that they will continue, like it serves as a continuation to your motivation letter, which aim to like finish convincing your scholarship provider that your candidacy is the most indicated above others. Normally, for an ill-planned academic CV, if you don't plan it well, it may lead to a scholarship denial. So this makes the CV one of the most important documents in the evaluation process. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a CV and a resume. So one may want to know, is a CV better than a resume for scholarship application? So I try to summarize the difference between a CV and that of resume and such. For example, when you talk about the length of writing. Normally for a CV, it's between like 2 or more pages. Whilst for a resume, since it's a summary, it's around between 1 to 2 pages. And then when it comes to in terms of formatting, for a CV, normally it has to be in a chronological order that you start from the latest to the oldest. Whilst for a resume, it's discretionary. It depends where you want to start. And then when it comes to a CV as well, in terms of information, it's more detailed compared to a CV, a resume, which is less detailed. And then the document, it shows, like I mentioned earlier, in the chronological order, how, like from your newest to the oldest, how far you've achieved certain results. And whilst for a CV, normally it's tailored based on a specific job requirement. And then in most cases, some people, they tend to manipulate the data which you put in a CV because they want to see how best they can capture the attention of their job seeker employer. So in short, a CV includes more content and apply mostly to academia and its related fields. So universities, they often require an applicant to submit a CV instead of a resume because a resume provides only a quick look into your experience, whereas a CV offers more details. So with this understanding, I think one might come to the conclusion that in terms of a scholarship application, we normally go for CV rather than a resume. Next, we move to how can we write this CV? So for the sake of our presentation, we are going to focus on 2 key areas. And the first step is we need to reflect and brainstorm on how to write our academic CV. For our presentation, I was able to summarize this brain and reflect into 3 categories. First of all, we talk about the assessments. So before starting to write your CV, you must make an assessment of yourself and determine the elements of your details which you will place on the document. Initially, you should gather as much information as possible to have a broader view of what you have to offer. And then you should choose which ones to show and how to do it. And one must remember that the scholarship provider has the final word, not you, the applicant. So you have to research well about your university. And then, so based on this, you select and highlight the most relevant skills and experience on your CV. So before you start anything, you need to first of all the assessment. So secondly, you need to do a bit of research. And in this case, you can start the research by reading the description of the scholarship. And in most cases, a lot of people, they don't consider this part. The moment you hear that, oh, there's a scholarship for, let me say CSC or this, you just jump into conclusion without you getting a detail about it. So you need to read the scholarship details and requirements very, very well so that you can have an idea of what you're applying for. And then you can also check the profiles of your professor, and sometimes you can check the profile of other fellows who are already in the program. And then also many times, for example, in China now, many schools or universities provide published articles or institutional videos which can offer scholars the experiences of what they're doing. And so at least you can have the opportunities to analyze their program. And the last thing we need to do before I am out to write your CV, you need to, in the first step, you need to identify keywords. When you do your research, try to identify keywords and write them down in the list so you know how to address your potential supervisor. For example, let me say, you will know if you should focus more on the academic side or professional or personal skills, and then experience as well. Because different scholarships, they have different things we look at for. Some they look at for professional experience, we look at for academic experience as well. So with this, it can also help you, for example, to know if you should show more of as a researcher or rather as a leader or rather as a creative, or you can be a socially aware individual. Because if you're applying for a creative arts scholarship, you need to show that you're a socially aware individual. So with this first step, where you can reflect and brainstorm, these 3 key areas serve as very important points for you to write your CV. The next step is we talk about how you can organize your scholarship. So how you can organize your academic CV. So look at the organization. All CVs, for example, they have 3 main parts, which are the contact information, the education, and the professional experiences. However, I recommend that you add other sections that make it easier for your reader to identify relevant information such as your certificates and acknowledgements you have achieved so far. If you have any volunteering experience and other, for example, another software skills. And if you have any language proficiency, they also have a section. So for the sake of our presentation, we are going to talk about 5 key areas. So the first thing that comes into our mind is the contact. And then at the top of your CV, you must show your full name and your contact information, such as you can write your address, your phone number, or if you have one or more number, you can add phone numbers. You can also write your email address or addresses. So avoid placing words such as CV or curriculum vitae, which do not make any professional outlook. Most times people write CV on top of their CV. It doesn't make any professional look. So avoid using these words. Just write your contact detail, your name, contact detail, and the likes. So next thing we look at for is the educational aspects. Normally it goes first because it is what will allow you to show that you meet the basic entry requirements of that scholarship you're applying for. For example, if you're applying for a PhD, it means you have already completed a master's degree. But however, in some cases, or some schools, they allow somebody with a bachelor degree to apply for a PhD, like you can do a double program. Likewise, if you're applying for a master's degree, it means you have already completed your undergraduate and so on and so forth. So in this case, you should write only the title you have obtained, the institution, the year of graduation, along with the city and county where you studied. And also, you can add special recognition of your qualification if they are outstanding. The third part we look at is your work experience. Do not limit yourself to describing the tasks that you carried out, but include something like your achievements and measurable results. So with this, you are demonstrating to the reader that you leave a trace where you work and that you are aware of the impact of your work as well. So also write it in the first person, but avoid use of I, like I, don't personalize it. So always use the first person. So remember that it is about you. It's about what you have done. And then therefore, you are the main character of what you present to your reader. So in this case, I always advise people to always clearly refer to true facts. Don't come and write about, for example, I have worked in the field of AutoCAD where you don't even have an iota of idea of what AutoCAD looks like. So always try to portray true facts about yourself. And then the fourth side we look at is language section. So for most scholarship application, they look at for people who are either bilingual or multilingual. So in this case, you show the languages you speak with their respective level. Like if you're a native speaker, you write a native, basic, intermediate, or advanced. And then avoid getting entangled with numerical skills. Most times, some people, instead of them writing the level, they'll just write 90%, 50%, 60%. So avoid using this kind of skills. It will make it difficult for your reader to understand. Some people, they don't understand percentage too. So avoid using this kind of time. And the last look at is your personal skills. So when you talk about personal skills, as you mentioned technical skills, you also have to mention your personal skills. This section is vital so that the scholarship provider can quickly recognize that you have the profile that interests them. So in addition with this, you can also demonstrate your self-knowledge and balance of how best you understand what you've done before. And then also, one additional part which has been added in most cases is you look at for if you have written publications or have been awarded prizes or certificates that complement, like example, your formal academic training, you can organize them in a section to highlight your achievements, and you also provide like the links or DOI for them to check your publications, and if you have them. Similarly, if you have experience in extracurricular activities, sometimes some professors look at for this, or if you have any volunteer experience, I recommend that you organize them in another section so that you quickly demonstrate your proactivity and social awareness. So with these two steps, it gives an idea on how you can write a good CV. Normally, if you are writing a winning CV for a scholarship, the first question people normally ask, which I will mention, do I have to include my professional profile in academic CV for scholarship? because now we've seen the world advance, and there are a lot of styles of fonts, and you can write your, you can do your CV. So the professional profile is a section with which some people decide to start their CV in the form of a presentation. So, however, it can become a repetition of what you will surely write in your motivation letter. So for this reason, and also because CV is about being as concise as possible, I will advise not to include it in the CV. But if you want to use it, do not write more than like 1 paragraph or 5 lines or text so that you won't have a repetition of words. Another question also normally asks yourself is, do I have to include my picture in academic CV for scholarship? So regarding the photo aspect, it depends on the institution to which you're applying for. But in general terms, I will recommend you to place a professional photo in your CV, which will help the reader to have an idea of who is speaking or who is writing. But make sure that the photo should be in a way in which it appears in a very friendly way. So most people, like sometimes they don't have like happy gesture, they use forced smiles. So make sure you look good, have a smile, and so that the reader will see that, yeah, this person look is always an happy person. Now, these are points which we need to note in order for you to have a win in CV scholarship. In most cases, like if you have a wrong plan academic CV, this can lead to your scholarship now, like I mentioned before. So I have highlighted about 7 to 8 ways of making your academic CV sound very effective and powerful. So first thing, it has to be short and specific. So in this case, it's depending on your number of application, the reader of your CV can spend only 30 seconds for scholarship CV. Whilst for in terms of work, like the HR, they spend only 45 seconds for job CV. So you see, instead of you writing a lot of things which does not provide a clear information about yourself, they only spend 30 seconds to browse through your CV. So that is why you should try to place all the content on a maximum of 2 pages. The next, you have to use a simple format. So in this case, we use bullets, bold, and capital letter to show, for example, relevant information to the reader. And then it is also recommended that you can use more than 1 column and that you separate the sections clearly to facilitate reading, and avoid using like conventional design of mixed colors. But in this case, if you're applying for an art program, you can use your conventional designs or mixed colors to show that at least you're an art person and you have an idea of this. Then another point is you have to be specific with the information you submit. You need to indicate institutions, titles, and dates. So this information must be in chronological order. For a CV, like I mentioned, it must start from the recent onto the oldest. And another point also is try to use correct time. So the activities that you are not already doing must be in the past, and those that you are still doing in the present, it must be in the present. In this case, most times, some people see it silly, but it normally happens. So I advise people to always write in the correct time. Then another thing also, you need to check your spellings. Your spelling says a lot about how you communicate and your level of language proficiency. So since self-correcting most times is not always successful, you can ask your friends or your professors to review each word and phrase that you use in your CV. Then another thing, most times people fall for cliches. So I always advise, don't fall for cliches. For example, you should not write sentences like, if given a chance, I will prove myself, or I am passionate about this kind of thing. So avoid writing this kind of sentences in your CV. Then also, do not display fancy emails on your CV. You know, we are now into a world of social media where in some people, the way they write, they create their CV is very, very unprofessional. But if you write it for an academic CV, don't portray fancy emails. For example, some people can write shootithot@gmail.com or sexpeditious. Avoid using this type of emails on your CV. They sound utterly unprofessional in most cases. So therefore, you can create an email ID that simply states your name. For example, I can use mohamedyate@gmail.com or yatemohamed@gmail.com, this kind of stuff. Then lastly, let your CV look consistent. So use a common font for all the points mentioned in your CV. Like, for example, normally people use Times Roman, size 12, and it looks very decent. So you can go for this, and you may have a slightly bigger font, let me say like 14 for headings and subtitles. And here I present to you two types of CV, like I mentioned. The first one on our left is an academic CV, which we can mostly get online, and the one on our right is a job CV. So if you can see from the academic CV, you can only see the photos of the applicants, the name and contact details, the education. You can see the school name, the location, and the degree obtained, the year, the month, and so on. And you can see the list of awards and the other extracurricular activities. But on our far right, we have like a job CV. And for a job CV, like I mentioned earlier, the expertise area, like in terms of expertise, avoid using this type of ways of expressing the percentage. Try to use like words like intermediates, proficiency, and the likes. So don't use type of representation to determine your level of expertise. Then also, you can see the difference. For here, they include what we call a profile, which writes a short bio about the individual applying. So with these two, we can have a clue of the differences between what an academic CV looks like and what a job CV looks like. And I hope in the long run, people we can learn more and more to service can do. In most cases, people also normally write about references. Nowadays, we normally use the phrase references will be available based on request. So in order for you to save your time, save your space, or save the reader's time to read irrelevant things, you can just use that phrase so that if they need your references, they can write you by email and then you provide those references. The likes. Next, we move to our second page, which talks about our personal statements. Normally, for a personal statement, it's a special type of essay that you typically write when applying to a school or scholarship programs. So for a personal statement, these are opportunities to display your achievements, your talent, interest, and goals. One may ask, what is the purpose of a personal statement? So a personal statement is your introduction to the scholarship selection committee. It serves as an introduction. It also determines whether you can be invited to the scholarship interview if selected, and then also from that personal statement, interview questions will be based on this material provided. So in actual sense, it serves as the heartbeat of your application. So you see how important this document is as well. However, before we start doing this, let's ponder our thoughts on how we can write a personal statement. So I've highlighted key points which one can take into consideration for us to write our personal statement. So before you start filling out your scholarship application, you should spend some time thinking about how to write a scholarship personal statement that expresses who you are and why you deserve to receive a scholarship. So to get started, let's look at the ponder our thoughts, which I've highlighted and the following. First of all, you ponder like, what are your strongest personalities that make you an ideal candidate for this scholarship? You ponder thoughts on this. Then also you accept, does any attribute or quality or skill distinguish me from everyone else applying for the scholarship? Then also look at what are your major accomplishments and why do you consider them accomplishments as well? You have to ponder on this. And also, what was the most difficult time in your life and how? And then how do you overcome it? So sometimes most professors, they look at people who serve as problem solver. So if you can think within this and try to see how best you can bring up with relevant information, it can help you to have a better personal statement. So you also look at what have you done outside of the school that demonstrate the qualities of an ideal candidate. You look at for like your voluntary skills as well. Then also you also have to ask yourself, what are my most important extracurricular or community activities? And then, for example, in most cases, they look out for people who normally join their community groups and they see how best they gel within the community. Then you look at what made you join these activities. What were the motivation behind it? Then also you have to ask yourself, why did you choose your area of study? This also need to ponder on it and see how best you can have a good personal statement. Then you have to ask yourself, what are your career aspirations and what are your dreams for the future, and how will the scholarship help you achieve your personal goals as well. Then lastly, you need to ask yourself, what compels you, or why do you want to attend, or why do you want to apply for this university that you want to study? So if you ponder your thoughts on this, it can help you to have a good personal statement. Next, we look at the structure of a personal statement. Your personal statement should be well structured and written to make you stand out from the rest of the applicants. So the statement should present a picture of you as a person, a student, and a potential scholarship recipient. So it is an opportunity for you to share your story and then make the reader know who you are. So here are some suggestions for organizing your statements. So I've made it into a 4 simple paragraph. So in the first paragraph, we have what we call the introduction. So in this one, we also call it the reflection phase. So you grab your reader's attention with an eye-catching opening. Share who you are, where you are from, and your family background. So you can state any special personal or family circumstances affecting your need for financial statements as to why you apply for the scholarship. Then also, and the second part, you look at the body or content of your personal statement. So this explains why you are the best candidates for the scholarship. What have you done so far? So this is where you begin to support your case. And also look at, why do you choose the university? Like after you ponder, what is your major? How did you choose your major? What are your positive qualities, your accomplishments, your work experience, your internship, your volunteer work you did, leadership experience, and your extracurricular activities, and also personal problems that you have overcome, like I mentioned. So this paragraph should be able to explain all of this. Then the third paragraph, which is also part of the body or main content, you connect your goals with the opportunities receiving the scholarship. That's the opportunities which, when you receive the scholarship, will provide for you. And then you also need to look at what are your future plans. So in this case, you have to be specific about your plans for pursuing your goals. So and also you have to ask yourself, where do you plan to transfer this knowledge that you have gained? Where? So this also give an idea on this third paragraph. And then you have to explain to your reader, where do you plan? Like if you want to be an academic, you want to be a tutor and the likes, you can also explain to them. Then also, what is the highest degree that you plan to achieve? For some scholarship holder, they look at if you intend, like example, if you are a lecturer in university, if you tend to like to be a professor or associate professor, you need to explain to them in the third paragraph. Then also, how do you plan to use your education to achieve your career goals? So in this, also lastly, you need to explain the importance of your major in today's society. Now we are moving in a global world, so you need to explain how does your plan correlate with today's society. And then in the fourth paragraph of your personal statement, this is your last chance to impress and persuade the scholarship committee. So here you ask yourself, what impact will the scholarship have on your education and your future? So you have to recap and why you are a good candidate to receive this scholarship. So in summary, with this structure, just 4 paragraphs, you can be able to summarize your personal statement. But make sure that your personal statement should be a minimum of at least 200 words. Don't make it below. The minimum is 200 words. So if you can organize your personal statement in these 4 different and simple forms, then it will help you. Then in most cases, a lot of people, they normally take other people's work. Try to be yourself. Portray true facts about yourself. Be original. Don't look at what other people have done or maybe sources from the internet which doesn't have any relation to what you are doing. Always try to do something which portray who you are, your true self, and how best you can use your education and knowledge for the better. And then in the last case of our personal statement, we talk about some key writing tips. So here are some writing tips which are provided for us to understand on how best we can write our personal statement. First of all, you think before you write. That is, you brainstorm and generate some good ideas for your personal statement. So you can create an outline of what you would like your statement to discuss. And then also read through your personal statement multiple times, make revisions and edit unnecessary words and paraphrase. So, and avoid empty words like themes and like. So avoid using these unnecessary words in your personal statement. And also, most times you make mistake. Try to use active verbs, not passive verbs. Like what I mean by this, for example, some people can say, "My love for science was fostered by my science teacher." That is the passive in the past. So try to do something in the present. Which, for example, you can say, "My science teacher fostered my love of science." So it shows that it's a continuous process. It's not as a result of your science teacher who love you to love science. It's because you have passion for science. That's why you love it. So try to write in the active verb. Then another thing we normally do is watch for misspellings, grammatical error, and even typo errors. You have to pay close attention to sentence structure, to your punctuation, and word choice. Nowadays, most universities, they have softwares where they can check all of these things. If it doesn't match to their standard, it can be easily rejected. Then also leave plenty of time to proofread. So you can sometimes you need to put your statement aside for like a few days or a day or 2 or 3, and then come back and look at it with fresh eyes. Sometimes when you do something for the same day over and over, see the mistake you do or the mistake you have written down. So leave it time. Hello, and then try to like allow it to for a day or 2, and then come back, read with fresh eyes, and you can do the mistake that you did. And then last, try to get everybody wants. Hello.
Please take note, Pavilion 3A. Please, can you mute? Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And lastly, for your writing tips, always get help from others. You can get help from online searches, just like the saying goes, no man is an island. You might think what you've written down is okay, but when others read your work, they might be able to see the mistakes you did. So I hope these writing tips that I've presented for the CV and that of the personal statement can help us to have a good scholarship, which can help us to see how best we can improve our continent for the better. So far, so good. These are thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed Yate. The presentation is quite educational. Thank you so much. So please, this is question and answer section with regards to the presentation on how to prepare a CV. So in case you don't find any parts clear or you would want to understand more on a particular section of this presentation, please do well to ask your question, or you could ask at the panel, on the chat panel, or you raise your hand so you're given the platform to ask directly. We have a few minutes for this, so please, any question? Oh, thank you so much. You have the floor.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, hello.
You can unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Sorry, I just entered in the Zoom meeting, and I just come in from the 8 point, and I was making some screenshots about what our brother is talking about. So I just want to know if we can put all those how to say PowerPoint image. I mean from the 1 to 7. So I just wanted to make some screenshot and save it on my computer. Sorry, did you get me?
It's asking if the PPT would be available, and someone also at the chat panel is asking if the Zoom record will be available. Yes, it will be available after the presentation, after today's training. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So please, Yome, you have the floor. You
Hello,
can ask the question.
hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed. I came in late, but when I joined, I was hearing you talking about personal academic CV and what
And personal
and
statement.
Jobs.
job CV. Yeah. So I didn't get the academic CV correctly and the job CV. So could you please throw a light on the two CV, please?
You want to know the difference between academic CV and job CV.
Yeah, yes, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Like I mentioned in the first presentation, your academic CV, it's a list of your documented list of your, for example, the applicants, like your education, your publications, your accomplishments, like even the projects that you want to take in the past, and also your professional experience. So it's focused mainly on the academics and your professional experience. So whilst for your job CV, it shows a picture of your skills and qualification for a specific position you're applying for. So in most cases, like if you're applying for a job which does not require you to like an academic field, you can't put there, for example, your publication, or let me say the achievements and awards. You look at for your experiences, you look at for your skills, and look at for your qualification. So the difference is the information which you put into the documents. This is where the difference comes to play. A job CV mainly is short and concise, whilst one academic CV is more details, which focus mainly on your academic credentials.
Is that okay?
Is that okay?
Please, do you understand it now? Okay. So, Mr. Sheriff, you
Hello.
have the floor. You can ask your question. Sheriff, please. You can ask your question.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, all right. I would like to ask you a question, sir. Someone else was asking.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, Sheriff.
Okay. My question is like for the academic CV, right? Like for fresh graduate, for example, like when you are applying for, let's say, a scholarship program or a master program, so like you don't have an experience, you didn't do an internship. How can you fill in that part? Since like you didn't have any job experience and like you didn't do any internship, but you need this part in your CV, and so how can you fill in those parts?
Okay. Normally, what sometimes people fail to realize, even a volunteering experience is an experience for you to put in your CV. And like, for example, most scholarship holder and provider, they even ask you for your volunteering hours. So if you have in the past, if you have volunteered for like a community job, which you did, or let me say there is a program which you volunteered for, you can add those ones as part of your experience. Like they want somebody, like for example, if you're applying for a community engagement, master's in community engagement, they want somebody with a similar background. They want to see the correlation for what you're applying for and then based on your past experience. So you can put your volunteering experience, which you've done in the past, as part of your experiences. It doesn't normally means like your work experience. You can put your volunteering experience. And I'm quite sure almost everybody who've done some volunteering experience in the past. So it's an opportunity for you to showcase what you volunteered in the past and how best you wish to make that experience a worthwhile. So you can add that section to your experience.
Thank you.
Clear on that? Okay, thank you so much.
Hello.
Nora, you can ask your question.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hope
Okay,
you
hello.
can hear me. So I would like to ask one question. I'm not sure whether you talk about it or not. I joined lately. But my question is, how many pages should the CV and the personal statement should be like? Where should it be 1 page or 2 pages, or how many pages? And as well as the other question that I would like to ask is, can we include also, for example, the class, when we're talking about the academic CV, can we also include the class projects or the minor projects that we have done during the class? Can that be accounted as experience, or can we put that on our CV? Thank you very much.
Thank you for this question. I also saw somebody ask the same question in the chat from your first question. Normally, like I mentioned earlier, for a CV, at most 2 pages. At least 2 pages. Should be at least 2 pages. Not more than
But
3.
in the case,
yeah, I'm coming. In like example, like I mentioned earlier, most scholarship provider, they only use 30 seconds to view your CV. So if you write all the irrelevant things in the first page and they didn't see what captivated them to give you that scholarship, they will just throw away your CV and go for others. Like you have more than 10,000 applicants applying for a specific scholarship. So you have to tailor your CV based on what is required. So normally, in terms of achievements, you can list from the recent to the new. So you have to put a summary. You don't need to write all the activities you carried out. Just the summary of what you did. It has to be like a summary. You don't need to explain everything which you did in the past. So the same thing can be said even for a job CV. Most HRs from job experience, they only spend 45 seconds to view your CV. Only 45 seconds, not even a minute. So if you have a 40-page CV, how can the scholarship provider or the HR or the person in charge view that 45 pages in 45 seconds or even 30 seconds? So I advise you to always write a summary of your work descriptions or achievements. You also asked the questions wherein, like, for your like classwork and other things. Like I mentioned earlier, a CV, academic CV, is also a list of your notable project achievements or awards which you have achieved. So if it's very relevant towards what you're applying for, I recommend you to mention it as part of your project, as part of your accomplishments on your CV.
all right, thanks very much. You said that
Hello.
it should be on 2 pages, but sometimes I feel like I don't have enough space to write all of my experience for only 2 pages. So how in the case that we cannot summarize like all what we have done in 2 pages and we left out like more?
Okay. Let's say, for example, let's take myself example. I worked as a public engineer for Oxfam, and during my work experience, I was involved into bore constructions, gravity dam constructions, and underways and the likes. So in order for me to start writing, I have worked in bore construction. I completed 50 bores. I worked in dam construction. I completed 50 dam. So I can just simply summarize that I have involved into bore construction, underwell, gravity dam construction, and the likes. So just name the important things. You can even bold them sometimes. So avoid writing too much of words which cannot capture the attention of your scholarship provider. Only write the keywords, like I mentioned into the how to organize your CV. Like the first thing under your brainstorm, reflect. You also start with keywords. The keywords attract the scholarship provider to put your CV, let me say, as a special case. But if you start writing down all those other activities which are not relevant to what you are studying for, they might just easily put your CV in a corner and then go to the next. Because in most applications, you have more than 10,000 people applying for one scholarship. So all what they do is screening. They screen your CV. So doing the screening, if they didn't see any relevant information which they want, they can easily discard your CV and move to the next. So I advise you to always try to summarize. You can even check online. There are a lot of formats. Our
Okay.
people.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Thanks very much for sharing this information.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
you
you
are,
are.
Nora. You can ask your question.
Okay, I would like to say thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed, for this wonderful presentation. My name is Nura Suleiman Mohammed from Nigeria. Uh, my question is that do you have a platform like Telegram or WhatsApp so that people will join, and if such information are available, people will get access to such kind of information? So that's the question I would like to ask. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I will share my contact is with the OAD representative, and then you can contact him, and then you can share my contact. I have a WhatsApp, and then also WeChat account. So, in case you need my help, we can chat through those platforms.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Do we have more questions? I think you addressed the questions on the chat panel already. So thank you
Please,
so
hello
much.
everyone. Linda.
Thank you.
Okay, someone has a question. Okay, you can.
Sorry, I joined late. So sorry for that. Can someone apply for undergraduate? Hello?
Hello.
Yes,
We
sir.
can
Did you
get
get my
the
question?
question complete.
Did you get
On
my
the
question?
graduate what?
Program.
If one could apply for an undergraduate program, do you mean CSC or
Yeah, CSC,
CV?
CSC. CSC.
Sorry, I don't ping to
Like
Juju,
English
please
program.
can you mute? Sim, you said?
Hello.
Can you please repeat your question, Sim? You are muted. We can't hear you.
Hello?
Can you unmute? Yes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Can someone apply for undergraduate program? CSC, English program.
Okay, his presentation was on CV preparation. But with
That's
regards,
what, I'm sorry I joined late. So
okay,
yeah,
I get that. There are CSC opportunity for undergraduate students, but I think it's dependent on countries that have bilateral kind of collaboration with China. So there are CSC application for undergrads. Yes, they are. So, but you need to know what institution and what programs allow for that.
If the program is in English, right?
Yes, you would have to. But most courses for undergraduates with regards to CSC are Chinese taught. So you need to make good inquiry, not to make mistakes. Yeah.
I see. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Please, do we have more questions for our speaker?
And then also, Leader, in addition to that, if you want to do English program for undergraduates, it's mostly like self-sponsored. They do offer scholarship. So if it is self-sponsored, then you can have an English taught undergraduate program. For scholarship, mostly.
I see. Thank you so much.
Okay, just to conclude on that, next week we'll be having a very good training section that will cover that particular question you are asking. So I encourage you to join next.
Thank you so much. Robert, do you have any question? I saw your hand. Please, you can unmute and ask your question. We have just Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, brother, for the presentation. Yeah, I joined in late. My question is, in sending a letter to a supervisor for an accepting letter, and mostly in China, like most of the supervisor, they speak Chinese, right? So it is advisable, like, why writing on an accepting letter to a supervisor, it is advisable that you have to translate like your letter into Chinese or leave that in English to just send to the supervisor.
Thank you for your question. I think you would have to wait for the next speaker. He will be addressing how to get a supervisor. So after that speech, you could ask this question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. So thank you so much, Mohammed Yati. Your presentation was quite educative, and I'm sure we will learn a lot from it. So please, I would want to introduce our next speaker. Okay, please, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, please.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. The next speaker is Dr. Odi Elijah. He's from Nigeria and presently in China. So he's the president and resident African resource person, Organization of African Academic Doctors, OAAD Global, Nairobi, Kenya. A growing network of African PhD holders and PhD scholars in various disciplines who are living around the world. As an interprofessional person who mobilizes people for collaborative interests, OAD has over 2 decades of experience in human network and dispenses its passion in facilitating mutual beneficial engagement in environmental, economic, and social sustainability domain, with a core focus on ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to contribute what they can in ways that allows optimization of human capital resources. So please, as I welcome Dr. Odi Elijah, he'll be addressing the topic, how to find a supervisor. Thank you so much, Dr. Odi Elijah. Please, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I will. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, Doc, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. And I want to say very warm greetings to everyone who has come to join us today in this conversation. And just as you heard our brother Aaron say, we are still continuing this next Saturday. And it's going to be another beautiful time. Today we have a huge number of people. The number keeps increasing, which shows that those who have been attending are very much open-minded and willing to share the experience and share the thoughts, share the opportunities they've received with other people. So we encourage everyone who has come today to also work hard to bring other people. If we do that, next week, we won't be able to accommodate everyone that will come. And that's our expectation, but we'll be able to make provision if there is need to take more than whatever number is going to show up. So we are excited to be progressing with this and continuing from where our brother Yate stopped. He has done a real beautiful job, but just continue from that point. I will make it as speedy as possible so that we can close at the time that we said we're going to close. So as fast as possible, I want to thank also the moderator and the other persons who have been making this program work out beautifully. I want to thank very much the Executive Council of the Organization of African Academic Doctors and the leadership of the other organizations that have worked together to make this event a success. The Liberian Student Union in China, the Federation of Beninese here in China, the Next Level Education Foundation International. It's a beautiful thing to work together and to get things done. And I want to quickly talk about this question. I'm talking about how to get a supervisor, but then when you're going to get a supervisor, that supervisor is going to be somewhere. It's going to be in a particular country. And we want to ask for you to be able to find a good supervisor and for you to know what to do to attract the attention of the supervisor. You need to find what is the interest, what's important to the supervisor. And it's the same principle with everything we do in life. Whatever you're doing in life, you are going to be able to get what you need if you bring what another person needs. The best thing anybody can do in life to succeed in life is to ensure that you don't just think about what you want to get, but think about what the other person wants to get. If you give the other person what he or she wants to get, that person will give you what you're looking for, even before you ask. The person will give you what you're looking for if you can give them what they want. So in doing that, you think about the country you want to go to, like at this time we're talking about China. What you can think about, what does every country want? What does China want from their universities? Every university will want to be able to solve problems. They want to be able to bring change or contribute to the development of their country. And all the professors in that university are doing something. What does every university want from their professors? So the country has requirements. The country wants to develop. The country wants to make progress. The country wants to become, as powerful as they can be, and they want to be able to utilize all the human resources they have at their disposal. They want to be able to use it well. And in every place they have those universities. So, and then what does the university want from the professors? The university employs professors. What do the universities want? The universities want to have professors who are able to advance the progress of the university, especially through their research. So every university wants to have professors who are going to publish a lot of research work, who are going to do a lot of good research. And because of that, the professors will also have their own, their own want, but it is a continuum, it just goes. So what does every professor want from their students? The country, the university, the professors, the students. What do the professors want from their students? The professors are going to want whatever is going to help them impress their universities. The universities want what's going to help them impress their country. And the country want what's going to help them stand out in the world. And the chain continues. So what does every professor want from their students? Every professor would want their students to be able to help them get done their job. They want to be able to find students who are able to publish papers, who are able to do research, who have critical mind, who have the capability to contribute to what's happening within the university, who have the ability to think beyond what other people have done, who are innovative in their approach, who are able to explore beyond what is currently existent. So because this is what the professor wants, and this is what the students are supposed to be able to prepare themselves for. So if you are a person who is looking for scholarship, you could, even if you don't have any other thing, assuming you've graduated with a 3rd class. So a professor has, maybe let me ask this as a question, and that may help me to know maybe the perspective that some of us may be operating in. Now, a student has got a 2nd class upper, or let's say 2-1 or a 3rd class. And then 3 students, one has got a 3rd class, one has got 1st class, the other one has got a 2nd class upper. The person who has, sorry, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, thank you. You can go on.
Oh, okay. Yes, so the professor has these 3 students who are all looking for scholarship. One has a 1st class, but has no paper, has not published any paper. The other one has a 3rd class or a 2nd class upper, but has published 5 papers, or published 2 papers, or published 1 paper. And the professor is looking at these students, and so based on the normal expectation of professors, I would like to ask us, who do you think the professor will consider first before others? Now, one has a second-class upper, has published 2 papers. Another one has first class but has published no paper. The other has a third class but has published 5 papers. Who do you think the professor may want to take in? Or if you're a professor, who would you want to take in as a student? You may use the chat box, or you may talk if you want to, but I think chat box would be a good place I can look now.
On the chat panel, it says second class, the person with publication, the person that has 5 papers.
Okay, that's great. That's great. That's great. Yeah,
you're class person.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, so that goes to say that if you want the professor, and I think that's the next thing, the next point I'm supposed to talk about. Okay, that's not the next thing, but maybe I'll talk about it later. If you want the professor's attention, you've got to get what the professor wants. The professor wants papers, nothing more. That's what the professor, because if the professor gets papers, the professor is able to get promoted faster. The professor is able to attract research grants and is able to get money, is able to, make progress. Yeah, thank you everyone for all the contributions you're making, beautiful contributions. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So the professor, if the professor has those things, the professor is able to get what they are looking for. Their interest is to be able to do the research. So if you've got all those in place, you've thought about what these people want, then you need to choose which city you want to go to. Which city do you want to study in? On the CSC website, as we'll get a practical hands-on engagement subsequently, we'll be able to see that on the CSC website, you see that there are particular things that the universities are arranged according to regions, according to cities. So you choose which city you want to go to, and based on what your choice. Of course, a lot of things should affect your choice. You could decide, I know a number of people usually would want to consider cities that are of lower cadre, because maybe many people may not apply to those places, but things may turn out that because there are so many people applying to those cities, it may actually end up having too many applicants, and then it balances everything such that if you're still not the best, you may not get the opportunity because there is a lot of competition in these things. So when I was doing my own application, I had considered Beijing and Shanghai, because I heard that those are the 2 biggest and most important cities. And then I also chose the topmost universities, Fudan University, Peking University, and I didn't like Tsinghua University because I didn't know how to pronounce the name. The name sounded so local. So it's kind of if you hear Peking, to me, it sounds good. If you hear Fudan, it sounds good, but Tsinghua, I didn't know how to pronounce the name, so I said, I don't want this university. So I picked the universities that I liked the name, how it looked. It sounded like one word, sounded like something that, that could be a good place, and were also highly placed universities. And then picked up those, and I was able to get professors in both universities. I got professors in Fudan University, got at Peking University, and finally I had to choose to go to Fudan University, and I had a good time there. So choosing a city is important. Then which university in the city do you want to go to? So every city you have a number of universities. It could be province, the various provinces, as you may look at it. A lot of universities are listed under them. So you need to choose, check out, and it's very important for you to narrow it down to your department, to the research interest. You may decide to choose that particular one because of its ranking at the global stage, or because some schools are not highly ranked, but particular departments are highly ranked at the global level when it comes to the quality of research, or the quality of what their products, or the quality of how they teach, the professors there, and how they are able to, the access that their students have in the job market, or the capacity the students have displayed over time. All those are important things. And then you'll be able to think about, what's your research interest? What really do you want to work on? Of course, those things are already basic, but I just ask them as a flow of thought. Then the professor, who are the professors doing research in that field? Once you've identified the professors doing research that are related to your interest, everything else is going to flow just naturally, and then you flow on to submit those documents that our brother Yate has spoken about. Package yourself well to be able to suit that professor's research, because it's important that there are certain important things that should make you look at what the professor is doing. So, in every laboratory, there are equipment for those who are working in laboratories. It's unfortunate that most scholarships pay attention to science-based fields. In fact, I have written something recently about this. Hopefully, there could be a change in the way people approach these things. Universities, countries, funding agencies rarely fund the social sciences. They rarely fund the spaces that are in other fields, like our social aspects related to the social indicators, because there is an overemphasis on the environmental and economic indicators when you think about the sustainability spectrum within the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which have been over the past 15 years, since 2015, have been the guiding factor. That's over the past 7-8 years, guiding factor for the global discourse of development and the direction of engagement of people at the country level and in various other spheres. So you think about who are those professors who are doing this research, you identify them and you can pay attention to them. Why it's important for you to, one of the other reasons in the laboratories, if the equipment for doing a particular research is currently not existent, it will not be a good idea for you to pick up such a certain interest that they are not ready for. But sometimes also, from my understanding, a professor may accept the student knowing already that when this student comes in, I'm going to make this student to work on what I want them to work on. So you can spend all the energy writing your proposal, writing all those things, but when you get on board, the professor actually is going to play a very key role in deciding what you finally do. So you may write all of those, it's just an expression, just an indication, a demonstration of your capacity, but it may not necessarily end up being what you're going to work on, because they're not likely going to go procure new equipment for you to be able to do that. And then you graduate and the equipment is not constantly in use. So they would rather want to do something that's within the field of what they are already working on. So you may consider that in your choice. That's for those who work in laboratories. And for other areas, it's also similar. Every professor would want to maintain a track of publications or about things that are related to one area, so that they are able to build on their expertise or build on their professorship to say, yes, this is my field, this is where I have capacity. So they want every student who comes to them to publish something in those areas, because publication is often a requirement for graduation. And now, what does the student need in order to attract the attention of that professor? Those are all the things I've already talked about. Publish papers. That's basically the first. And then, or you may be able to include other items in those documents described by our brother Yate. Include whatever content that is going to fulfill the professor's interest. What is the professor looking for? So if you know what the professor is looking for, then you will know to ensure that you include those things. And the most important thing they are looking for is academic capacity, academic ability. The ability to, the fact of showing that, yeah, this person, is able to think academically. This person is able to think critically. This person is able to think and engage in ways that that can get papers out there, or that can explore, break new grounds. This person is innovative in some way. So even if you've not published papers, but you've done something that shows that you have innovative capacity, and then, or language ability, or some other thing that makes you special, it would be really beautiful to, make that available and emphasize it as clearly as possible. So, so for you to be able to do that, the most important thing you're going to do to attract a professor is that is to ensure that you are doing something that you are prepared, something like paper. So in order for you to do that, it's important for you to be able to do this as well. You can look at the professor's profile. Every professor has their profile on their university website. And it's always very straightforward. Once you know the name of the professor, you can find the professor's online profile, and you're able to find the kind of research the professor is doing. And in whatever document you're writing, it to be wisdom for you to be able to include certain words from the professor's research. And it will also help you to in the process of initiating conversation with a professor, you'll be able to have a good conversation because you're speaking the professor's language. If you have looked at the research they are doing, you'll be able to speak in their language. And if you speak in their language, that means there is something to say. And when I say speaking in their language, of course, I believe you understand what I'm saying. In research, we don't speak in English. We don't speak in Chinese. We don't speak in whatever language it is. But we speak the language of the research. We speak the language of the field. And when a particular person is speaking about their field, you'll be able to see the exuding of the confidence, the exuding of the reality, talking about that. So for you to be able to catch the attention of the professor, use the professor's words, find what they've written about. Of course, you don't have to be excessive about that because it will be obvious if you just go copy some of the words from them, or just be overtly on the show. You don't have to overdo it, but show that you've got, that you've read their works. You mention specific works you have read that attracted your attention, and you are possibly able to say something new that you are likely going to bring to the table. Something, if you do this, which means that you are showing a research gap that's existing in what they are doing. If you do this, the professor will be the one reminding you if you have submitted your application. The professor will maybe even call you on phone and say, have you submitted your application? I hope everything is going on fine. They're going to make sure, because they know that as you are arriving, you are already diving into pushing them forward because you're doing something that is of great value to them. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm just going to hang it here so we can I'm trying to, it's almost 9:30, so I will allow time so we can have conversation. So this, my WeChat code for those who may want to link up for further conversation and for driving change, because we are particularly very careful about what we're doing, why we're doing, we're organizing this training. It's not just because we want to get people out of their countries or get people out of where they are and then get them to somewhere else. But we understand that Africans need this support. And we also are very careful to let everyone know that it's not just about moving out there. While you are going for your scholarship, you must be strategic in your engagement. Prepare yourself ahead of time and know what you want, know what you're looking for, and try as much as possible not to be absolutely dependent on your professor when you have found the professor. At the beginning, you are looking for the professor, you are so energetic, you're looking for that. But the time is coming where if for any reason you don't flow the way you expected, that professor who is very friendly may no longer be as friendly as they used to be. So you find a way to ensure that you as an African person, you have a base, you have you have something you can hold on to. You have your own value. And during the period of your learning, of your training, of your development within the system, you ensure that you are not only focusing on just that thing you're doing. You need to be open-minded. You need to be able to develop your capacity. You need to be able to get involved in other things. Like there are several organizations, different countries have their communities within the system. Whether you're in China or in other places, it's important to be active within your country organizational level engagement, like the Liberian Student Union, the Beninese Student Federation, the Nigerians, they all have their own groups. And of course, the Organization of African Academic Doctors is open to all Africans, particularly those who have got PhDs or those who are are currently PhD students. Because within that frame, we are able to also prepare people for them to be able to move forward with other things they are supposed to be doing. And it's beautiful also to note that the Next Level Education Foundation International is also there working hard on removing academic barriers. And this event is one of those where we are ensuring that we remove this barrier. We know that a lot of people are not able to do this on their own, but with the skills you're able to capture now and in the next session, you are going to be able to do these things by yourself, and you can make relevant progress as the years unfold. So thank you very much for your time and attention, and just wishing you all the best as the years unfold, because great things will keep happening. And Africans, we are the ones to make the change. We are the ones to drive the change we're looking for on the continent. And so keep your heart strong, keep your heart beating strong, and train your hands, let your competency level rise. Be open-minded, support other people, look for what's going to make things for other people work out. In that way, that's going to help you relate well with your supervisor when you get on board, because you have already raised your bar of relational competency. So such that it's not after you've got the professor, you begin to fight with the professor. Because like somebody mentioned, maybe that's the first question we'll be answering to some extent. Maybe I don't remember that question, but I think it's important that the fact that some professors don't speak in English, it often brings problems. It often brings challenges. And some professors you will send messages to, they won't reply, not because they don't need you, but sometimes because they are not competent in English use. And that's why you must be able to send messages to as many professors as possible. You must be aggressive while you are looking for professors. My professor, I kept sending messages to professors for 2 years. And finally, I was able to narrow down to those who were responding. Those who don't respond, I leave them. And after I got the professor, I kept relating with the professors for over 1 year before the time I came for my study. This is a very important factor that you must look into. Thank you very much once again, and let me hang it here while we take questions. Please, over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Dr. Odi Elijah. Thank you. It's quite educative, and I know there are lots of questions that will be coming in. So please, if you have questions, do well to raise your hand to ask directly or use the chat panel. Thank you. Any question? Okay, TNU Fitness.
Hello.
Okay.
Hi, I raised my hand. This is TNU. My name is Didi, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to find out, I think he mentioned something, but I missed it, about if you don't have publications. So it's been a very long time since I completed university. I did my bachelor's, and then now I'm looking to do my master's. During this time, I've been working, so I've really not done anything academic, how do I make myself very presentable to what's it called, to potential supervisors? How do I place myself in a place where, and then also you mentioned we need to be very aggressive. So it means you have to email a lot of supervisors. Now, how do I appeal to all these supervisors I am making contact with? Because obviously some of them will not be working in the lots of them will not be working on the same research, even though they might be in the same department. So for MBA, somebody will be specializing in HR, marketing, economics, finance. How do I appeal to everyone if I'm supposed to be aggressive?
Okay. Let's find the person making the noise. Operator or host. Find the source of the noise. Thank you. Whoa. Thank you. Okay. Yes, Didi, your question is, let me start from the ending part of your question. It is, even though you are going to be aggressive, please don't waste your time sending messages to people who are not in the field of your expertise. But then if you want to, if you are open to just going anywhere, it's fine. And if you have publication, you can, anybody can even accept you. Any field can accept you if you have publication. But of course, it must be, within the bigger. For example, if you are in the social sciences, somebody will definitely be able to accept you. Even if you're not coming, for example, you are in political science, or you've done something maybe that's related to some other social science related area, like maybe some, I know marketing is not social science, that's administrative something, but just something within that box where you can still function. So in your aggressiveness, it must be strategic aggressiveness. It must be directional. It must be focused on the people who really need you. Because remember the bigger picture. The bigger picture I shared is that the country wants something and they set up universities. The universities want to impress the country, so they will do things that will help the country's focus. The professors want something, so they want to get students. So students are like the customers who are supposed to work with the professor to help them create progress. Like some professors don't necessarily spend time anymore working on basic research. They are involved in consultancy. So the students are the ones that work and publish papers. And then the professor's name keeps circulating. The professor keeps appearing as a corresponding author for paying attention to the students, guiding the students' developmental process in that field. So the professor is able to to get things done within that field. Like myself, all the students I have supervised, I had to work with them to see the possibility of publishing their works. And when they publish, my name is going to come last as the supervisor, as corresponding author who takes care of the things they have done, or who monitors their process. And I see that you mentioned that you don't have publication at the moment. You're working on a paper, but it's far from complete. It's not a problem too. You can include it. In fact, I will advise everybody, if you're applying and you don't have a paper yet, start a paper. Start a paper, and of course, it's not something that people just start. But I hope that because you're interested in this, you are able to you're able to think of this critically. So if you include a paper and say in progress, and you include the journal, the target journal, it is better than having nothing. So you can include your target journal that I'm working on so topic. You put the topic and put, in fact, you can even include co-authors, the people you are working with, the people you are intending to publish that paper with. And you will you will impute also the, of course, the title and all those things, the way it normally appears. The only thing that will not be there now will be in fact, as I said, you can also include the name of the journal. Because if you include the name of the journal, but the only thing that will be lacking will be that there's no volume, there is no number or things of that nature. There's no DOI. Yes, so that's it for that, Didi Tianyo. Right. So, and then for the person applying for masters, isn't applying for masters, if you have papers, also it's good. It's a good thing if you have papers. Whether you're applying for masters or for PhD, if you have papers, it's better for you. You stand better chance if you have papers. Like when I was applying for masters, I had published my undergraduate research, so I included it when I was applying for my masters. Yeah, yes. So I can just call on moderator. I hope I can just call on the names, the hands I'm seeing up. Am I allowed? Okay, so Roberts, you may ask your question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for the presentation. It was eloquent. My question is this. Now I'm a undergraduate student and applying for the master program. I have found the city, the school, and also gone through the supervisor profile. And I've sent in an acceptance letter, a request, an acceptance letter. But I've sent like so many supervisors, and I haven't get any response yet. And in China, like I have like after graduation, after my undergraduate program, I have 2 months to stay within my university that I'm in now, to go to another university, or to leave China, or to go back to my country. So in that process, what should I do? Like if I haven't found a supervisor yet, what should I do as a person?
For most of the universities, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Great. Yeah, for most of the universities, you are able to apply even without getting, let me not say, maybe I'm not exactly sure of the current rules, but when I was applying, but I know some things about the rules as well at the moment. It's possible to apply to some schools without having a supervisor yet. But I'm aware that many schools require you to attach an acceptance letter from a professor. So if that's the case, you've sent to many people and they haven't replied, I would like to ask you, how many people have you sent to? How many is your many?
I've sent to 16 supervisors, 16.
Okay. I've heard someone who sent to 300. I've heard of someone who sent 300 professors. So I would want to say that you've done a great job for sending up to 16, and that's a sign of aggressiveness. I say kudos. But since you have not gotten what you're looking for, then you should not take a break, because nobody's going to hurt you for sending to more. Nobody's going to say that you've done a bad job for sending to more people. So please send to more, because especially if the place you're applying to will require you to submit a letter of a letter showing acceptance from a professor. Yes. So because of course you have to be as speedy as possible in your engagement, since you have a little time here, and you may have to, if you don't get that in a good time, you may be in a tight corner, except you have some other plans that could protect you.
Okay, and also that I got some advices from others, like, because I'm sending those letters in English, and some supervisors, they don't read English, they only read Chinese, and some people advise that, like, I translate my letter to Chinese and send to a lot of supervisors, and others said I should even call the phone number of the supervisors.
Okay, my advice, if you translate the message to Chinese, I don't think it's a good idea if you don't speak Chinese. If you speak Chinese and you want your study to be in Chinese, then you can translate it to Chinese. Because whatever you use to catch the professor, you must be able to keep using it after catching the professor. So, because if you finish catching the professor with Chinese and the professor speaks Chinese to you and you cannot respond, that's a big trouble. And I want to just also add, Aaron mentioned, our brother Aaron Pittman mentioned, say, what message are you sending? The quality of the message is very important. You sound good with your English communication. So definitely you're writing good English, because I have received some messages that from people that it will be so discouraging to know how to begin to engage with the person. But then maybe you need to review your message and check the content. What is what's contained in the message? Our sister Holder also just typed now. What's the content of what you're writing? That's very important. If you write something that is attractive to the professor, if you write something that is interesting to the professor cannot do but find out. You must stimulate the professor sufficiently to want to reach out to you. Because there are, from my experience, there are hundreds of people sending messages to them. So your own message must be outstanding in order to get their attention. So thank you, Robert, and I wish you all the best as you send to more professors. Review your message, and then send it to more professors. And of course, as we said, ensure that your message has something that is related to the professor's research interest. Don't just write that you want a scholarship or that you want to be admitted. Anybody can write that. Include something that must be able to attract the professor's attention. Please, Alexander, over to you.
Okay.
Alexander Rochas, right there, call your name.
Yes.
Okay, I have this. Okay, assuming that you had done a publication in one area, and then you decide to change your area of study or maybe of interest, where it will suit the particular professor that you want to write. How do you do that, or how do you think you can do it if where you did a publication is different or it's not in line with the recent professor, or the recent area rather, that you may want to have interest in?
Okay, yeah, that's not a problem at all. What the professor is looking for is your ability. The professor wants to see that you have ability to do academic research. So don't worry at all. You can just include a line in your cover letter or your CV or whatever you're sending to the professor. Send it, include that you used to be interested in so area and you have published a paper in that area, but you now want to transfer to a new area, that you now want to come to his area. And of course, you're going to show why you want to move to his area. So in that way, you'll be able to, to still move on to be as good as you publish that paper in that person's research area. So it doesn't matter whether it's the person's research area or not. If you're really interested in this new area, show why you're interested, include your published work. Your published work is a testament to the fact that you are interested in academics and you have shown evidence with a published work. So it's not a problem. You should freely change if you want to change to a new area. So thank you for your question, Alexander. TJ, over to you.
All right. Good evening, sir. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. That was so insightful. I learned a lot. So I think the brother who spoke before the one he just answered right now, I just wanted, when you were speaking, I saw that I also became a victim of what you're saying, because you find, due to the lack of time, what most people end up doing, you find they either find an agent, and then the agent just tells you, oh, okay, you are going to this school, this is the program. You get, but that's not actually the research field that you really wanted to venture into, and you end up doing something that was not in your plan. So maybe if you can, maybe on a different session, I don't know if today or anytime is fine, where you can just guide, since like you see, I think from December, I don't know, when the applications open, then you can guide through, like for the, like for example, he's about to graduate, right? Then you can just let us know like the procedure on how to go about it before the time runs out, if that's okay, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week, the session we're going to have is going to be hands-on, and there will be practical, kind of going through the whole process. So you should be able to have your computer or whatever device you want to use for the application. And so you should have that in place. You'll be guided to, through the process and things of that nature. So absolutely, that's well understood. And just as we said the other time, some universities don't necessarily need you to have an acceptance from a professor. And somebody has testified on the group, Catherine, that she didn't have to get an acceptance letter, but she finally got acceptance by 2 of the 4 universities she applied to after sending messages to 15 professors. So that's something very practical which you can look at and get guided. Yes. Somebody says that is done for only masters and PhD students. BSc students also required to follow the same process. BSc students often don't need to get a professor ahead of time. To the
well, it's not compared with that much like carbon copy. I was thinking maybe they came together. So people are like,
okay. Yes. Okay. CSC scholarship. Yes, there are some changes in the scholarship acceptance for this year, but next week we're going to talk about that, because we're going to go through the practical experience of the current engagement. Robert said that Southeast University in Nanjing requirement doesn't need an acceptance letter from supervisor. So if there is a requirement you're not able to meet, there may be some universities that don't need it. So look carefully. Out of the over 200 universities, almost 300 universities offering scholarship in China, you should be able to find one that can deal with what you're looking for. Yes, so the next, okay, I think all the hands that are raised are finished. It seems we don't have many more questions, but if you have any question that we haven't answered, you may raise your hand, or if you don't know how to raise your hand on Zoom, you can speak out, because we'll be able to provide you a response. But if there's no response, if there's no further question, I will hand over to the, oh, in fact, it's like I'm doing the job of the moderator, looking for question.
It's
Hello?
fine, sir.
Please, over to you, moderator.
Hello?
Hello,
Yes,
please, you can go on.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. And I want to ask, I studied something different in my undergraduates, and now I've done my master's in a program also a kind of not the same with my undergraduates. Now I want to do my PhD in another program because I don't want to, what I study in undergraduate, I don't want to go further with that. But the research I want to do, they're kind of the same with what I did in my undergraduate. I did something on pollution in my MSc, I did something in pollution. And now too, I want to go into environmental engineering, environmental science. But when I'm sending letters to professors, it's like maybe they are seeing me like I'm not speaking the language, something like that, because it's totally different from what I studied. Maybe when I send my transcript and my certificates, it will be totally different from what they want to see, something like that. So I don't know what to do. It's actually a big challenge for me.
Okay.
So what should I do? Do you understand my question?
Yes, I think I understand. And I think,
thank you.
Yes, and I think it seems like you know what the problem is. And if the problem is solved, the barrier has been removed. So for example, the fact that you've studied in different areas in a country like China is not a problem. Okay. And also in many Western countries, it's not a problem as well. Such things only are problems in many African universities who are particularly focused on specific fields. And because of the fact that those people are, because their fields are kind of closed, there is this closed nature of, you know, of that. But in this place and other places, it's not a problem if you studied other things. So that area is not an issue. So you don't need to worry about that area. Yes, and then the aspect of so that answers that aspect. Then the aspect of whether you are speaking the language of the professor or not, that can be handled very easily if you are able to, if you're able to read through the works of those professors.
Okay.
Just a few of their works will give you the language. We just be able to pick up certain things in those fields or in that field, particularly what the professor is working on. For example, if you're writing maybe a code email or an initial contact email, you don't just speak English freely, or speak whatever language it is. You don't just type that language plainly. Be able to include certain, certain specific jargons that, the professors use in their engagement. That will help you to, achieve a more effective entry, because the items, you're able to look at what they want, and you can flow more effectively that way. So I think that will solve your problem, particularly being able to look at the works they are published. That will guide you more effectively. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, brother. Yes, Innocent, please, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Innocent from Ghana. Please, my question is, already I have 2 publications, And you've already answered some of the questions that I have in mind. I'm trying to move from one area to another. Please, I would like to know, do I need to contact more than 2 professors in one university? If yes, because maybe one professor have an area that is much interested to me. The other one also have a different area, and I also like to move to that area. Please, can I email the 2 professors in the same institution? Thank you.
You're welcome, brother. I faced a similar problem. And you know, when you are doing this thing, you want the professor to feel like he is the, or she is the.
How about you, sir?
Yes. So when you're doing this thing, you want a professor to feel like he's the only professor in the world who is doing what you want. So, so sometimes it's difficult to give an impression that you're also contacting others. But it's allowed to contact professors in similar areas. And the reason I say so is that many of them often do not talk to each other about the candidates they are considering, because your application is not so important. Your application is not so important that they are going to be discussing it as something that, you know, that will make them to get to know that you're applying. But I know as myself, when I was applying, I had that difficulty that these people are in the same department. Maybe if I send to more than one person, it could be a problem. I think you should freely send and address each person as if they are the only one, but don't mention that they are the only one and that they are your last hope, such that if they, you know, if they happen to, for any reason, get to know through anyone, you will not be in a tight corner, because it's not as if you're not doing anything bad by applying to more than one professor. So it's okay, and it's you know, you can make it known, because in that way they're able to see that what you're doing is you are just trying your best to get at the best of possible access. So, and also even other universities, it's also okay, send to as many as possible. Yeah, 1 LB for our, your hand is raised. 1 LB for our SS KTSP. I'm sure you won't even know you are the one.
Can you hear me, sir?
Okay, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay, sir. My question is that what do they mean by notarized copy of the transcript and the certificate? They said that we should only upload notarized copy of transcript and certificate. What is that notarized copy? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a document you're going to, you need to give it to a relevant lawyer. They are usually, sometimes they would need you to do the notarization with a lawyer in the country where you are applying. And some notarizations also specify where you should take it to. So, but that notarized copy that is just plainly mentioned, it means that a law office or a notary public in your country should notarize it, and then you put it together to forward to them, whether it's in soft copy or any hard copy, as the case may be. Yeah. So that means you're not going to submit just a plain document. It needs to be notarized, it needs to be endorsed, you need to have a seal. The notarization is often a seal or a stamp that shows that a lawyer has seen this document and confirmed it to be, you know, to be exactly the same of the original. Please, I hand over back to the moderator.
Thank you so much for your speech, Dr. Odi Elijah. It's quite insightful, and your manner of answering the question, the approach is also very refreshing. I don't know if Alexandra has a question to ask, or he had asked this question already, because the hands are still up. Alexandra, do you have any question?
He already asked.
Yes,
Okay.
a second question. Sorry, you are answering and then I didn't get it clear. That has to do with sending to more than 2 professors in the same university, whether it is okay. In answering that, I didn't get it too clear. That's why I wanted to, get clarity on that. Because myself have fear in doing it, whether it will or not.
Okay, yes, the answer is that it's okay. And the reason that it's okay and you're advised not to be afraid about that is that your application is not so important that 2 professors will take out time to talk about it. So they're not likely going to discuss. They don't, from my experience, professors don't discuss people who have sent them letters or requests to be accepted, because they are receiving those from hundreds of people. So feel free to send, but while sending, don't use the words to any professor that you are the only person, or you are my last hope, and if you don't accept, something bad is going to happen. That kind of stuff. So just be plain about it, so that even if for any reason they get to talk to each other about it, and it will not be a problem, because they know that you are just looking for best opportunity. You're just showing aggressiveness to work towards your goal of ensuring that you have the opportunity that year. So any of them that accepts you, or if all of them accept you, fine. You take the one you like out of the 2. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Another hand is on. I think Gideon, please, you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. It's not literally a question, just experience on questions that have been asked.
Yeah. Gideon is a professor of scholarships, so it's not a question. Yes, please carry on.
For the supervisor issue, when I was applying for master, I had no publication, but what I did, include my thesis topic in my CV to attract the supervisor. And when I applied to many supervisors, and none of them even reply. So I just applied like that, and I was accepted to 2 universities. But the university I came to, my research, my application was for organic chemistry. And the supervisor who took me, research area is in organic chemistry. But in my CV, I stated that I'm flexible to switch to any related field when it comes to chemistry to do my research. So I have no problem with that. And where you say to apply, as people asking to apply to more than 1 supervisor to a university. For the PhD program, I apply to few schools, but there's a school that I applied to 3 supervisors in that same department. And requesting for their accepted letter, only one gave me the accepted letter. But after the interview, I received a call that 2 supervisors actually want me I should choose. And they sent me a formal letter on that. I choose the one who gave me the accepted letter, because he gave me a accepted letter and the research area was in line with my research area. But it like the other person was so in need of me, although we don't have exact research area, but he thought it was that with the publication I had, I can work in the area and it will be a betterment for his publication that he needs. So he keeps sending message, and there's a supervisor that even send message to 3 times a day, every day, in the morning, the afternoon, and in the night, and he can't even reply to. So you can apply to 2 supervisors can also come for you. So you too can apply to more than 2 as well.
Thank you so much for that warm contribution. Okay, I would just want to add a bit on the question asked by Simeon on his fear of applying to supervisors in of switching his field of study. I'm a practical witness to that, and like, should I say, it happened to me from microbiology to I switched to engineering, and from engineering I went to molecular biology. So you see the switch. So it's possible. But one thing I would have to say is during your course of writing, as already explained by the speaker, people make mistake of going to just the profile of the supervisor. The profile is not enough. That's because most institutions don't get to update the profile of their supervisors, of their professors, of their faculty members. So it's good if you go there, you have a view of what department this professor is, or what specialty such professor is. Then you take the name of that professor, note the department, and go to places like PubMed to search for this professor. Look for their recent paper, if possible, 2022 paper. So when you read, if like 3 of those papers, try to look for a niche within 3 of those papers, include it in your code mail. And another thing, your code mail should be very short, like very, very short. If possible, 2 paragraphs. 1, I am so person from maybe I studied in so school and all those things. The second part of the code mail should be telling the professor what you're coming, what interest you have, how your interests align with theirs, and then you with style introduce that gap and try to give suggestion, or try to give a little bit of what experience and what experiments could be done, or you think, or you suggest could be done. You know, there's a way you portray yourself, the person would want to hear more from you. And again, after that, after your second paragraph, give room for give room for such professor wanting to ask you question, or maybe the professor should see you as being outstanding. In my case, sometimes I go further to giving some suggestions, and then I say, if the professor would want us to discuss more on this, I am available for a Zoom discussion. So you don't make yourself look so much like, oh, I'm begging you, you need to have me at all costs. No, you try to portray the fact that, okay, yes, I would want to work with you. This is what I have observed from what you have been doing. I suggest this, this, and this. And if you want us to discuss more about this, I'm available on Zoom. Please let me know what time is convenient. So this professor knows that this person is also an asset. Okay, so I think the way you portray your code mail really matters, and keep it very, very short. And for the person who is asking if it's okay to get supervisor, the same department, in the same department where I studied at Zhejiang University, I'm not supposed to mention the name, okay, but I got acceptance letter from 4 professors in the same department where I finished. Funny enough, 2 out of the 4 shared a lab, and that was, one of them was my supervisor, and they shared the same lab. Okay, so it's really nothing. And we do group meeting, lab meetings. So all through my years in China, I saw this professor every day. We did lab meetings together. He was even my committee member for defense, and it never happened. It had no effect on me, even he was one of my best committee members. So I can tell you, send as much as possible. And I also send as much as 20 emails a day when I was seeking for admission. So if you had sent 16, that is even below 1 day. But it's good. It's good. You have done so well. You have done so well. I really give you kudos. But I'm telling you, people do more than that. Like majority of us that finished from Jejan, we gave ourselves targets of sending 20 a day. We were how many of us then? 4 of us, and that was our target. Like if you don't meet it, the second person will kind of boo you, like, hey, we thought we were supposed to. So we're checking up on each other, the 4 of us, and we had scholarships and we're confused on which to choose. So please, just keep the fire burning, okay? That's my words of encouragement for these questions. I hope I've been able to contribute a bit. So moving forward, I think we have gone far beyond time. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just contribute a little bit to that acceptance letter issue. We should know that acceptance does not equal acceptance into the university, right? So most university, like Dr. Odi said, does not require acceptance letter. So don't waste your time finding a supervisor to a university. Probably you won't even be accepted there. Or you will even get an acceptance letter to that university, but still you can get admission. So I just want to give this clarity. If you are looking for a supervisor, that shouldn't stop you from doing your application. Look for the university that is very flexible. Some universities don't even ask for a professor acceptance. They just tell you to apply, and they will match you according to your study plan or maybe your proposal or any CV you give them. So just apply and follow the requirement that the university is requesting for. Don't waste your time on an acceptance letter, and at the end of the day, you won't be accepted to that university. Or you waste your time on an acceptance letter. At the end of the day, you get the acceptance letter, but you will not get admission to that university. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you so much, Dr. Odi. Thank you. So for the closing remarks, we wish all participants or applicants the best of luck. Let's keep working smart, working together, and winning together. On this note, I would like to say thank you all for participating, and thank you for the partners who had joined forces together to see that this webinar is a success. Thank you all. So do well to join the subsequent webinar.
Yeah, I think Grain is here for the closing remarks, official. There should be another brother, please.
Okay.
Grain, you can call on his name, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah,
great. Yeah, Mr. President. Yeah, to you. Yeah.
Warm greeting and giving to everyone. Can you hear me well?
Clearly.
Sure, you are audible.
Oh, all right. So I think the program itself is a kind of success from the attendance today. The attendance went to more than 70 plus. I'm quite sure the 2 Saturdays that are left, we may likely run into 100 plus. However, as that the larger cell, perhaps when we go across beyond the normal attendance, we might accommodate new other sources. So I want to extend my appreciation to all of the presenters, Brother Mohammed Yati, and then our own president, that OD Larger for their brilliant presentation. I also want to extend our thanks and appreciation to all of the collaborating organizations for making this program a unique one. I think it is good that we share ideas and then we work smart. Because you may be working, but if you're not working smart, your work won't yield that needed a result. I think by us collaborating, our result will be a success. And for the attendance, I can tell that there are more people who are interested to apply. There are more people who are willing to come here and listen to the presenters. So to all of the participants, we want to say thank you for gracing this occasion. We wish you all of the luck. Someone said they are applied to 16 supervisor. You have to keep trying. Don't give up. 16 supervisor, in my view, is even less. You should be applying to more than 100 partner, and then perhaps the content of a rating, you have to revise your content of a rating. And if you apply to 16, you haven't get to know what, try to apply, try to read, maybe revise what you are reading already, and perhaps read what the supervisor will want to see or what they want to hear within your read out. By that, I think you will be successful. But you have to keep trying, as others have said, and then again, I want to say thank you to every one of you people and all of the applicants. Wish you a success as we grow and promote more academics in Africa. Thank you and have yourself a wonderful weekend and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you.
Maybe we could take photo if it's possible. If you're able to open your camera.
Everyone, open up your video. Let's take
Yeah,
a photo.
maybe. Yeah, it would be really beautiful.
So as everyone was saying something, most schools, the reason you have to be very much careful. If you are applying to top-notch university, you have to be very much careful because that university will expect nothing less but more. So you have to be very much careful what you present to them. Unless if you are writing to a low-class university, then perhaps you can get anything. But let's say, for example, the 30 best university in China, you want to get admission there. So you will not just take anything that you send to them and that they will accept that. You have to be convincing and you have to prove that yes, you're capable to do this before they will accept you. So many of times we confuse ourselves. You don't necessarily have to attend the top-notch university. Perhaps you can go for maybe the lower one as well. You can get a starter. Maybe you want to do a master program as well. You can get a starter. But sometimes chasing most of the big university, the anxiety you have may not really come to because you are not reached that level yet, so to be accepted. So sometimes you have to try. You try the top-notch one, you can try the lower one as well, and you can see which one will take you. But the acceptance letter are not requirement. You can apply without acceptance letter. I think where acceptance letter is really needed, I think it's for PhD specifically. That's where they can really need acceptance letter. But for master, I think it's not necessary for acceptance letter.
Yeah, let me answer the question that was asking for university that accept PhD student with applicant without acceptance letter. Even the top university, if you apply without acceptance letter, you will go through screening. Right after your interview, if you're supposed to get supervisor, you will get them that same day. Because the supervisor will see and when they call you for interview, sometimes they won't tell you prepare PPT, right? You prepare a short PowerPoint that will carry you like 5 to 6 minutes. If the supervisor cannot understand your English because you are speaking so fast, they will understand your PowerPoint. With that, they can easily screenshot and later look through it and contact you as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's great.
Please, let's turn on our videos. Let's see your smiling faces. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So the goal is don't get tired. Apply as many you can. If you will be accepted, you will be accepted. Don't give up in the process. If you wish, you can write more than 1,000 supervisors and apply to more than 1,000 supervisors university. Don't get tired. The goal is you must be accepted. So apply as many as you can. That's the strategy. And revise maybe your study plan, your CV, as you are listening to the bullet point today. Perhaps you can go back to maybe try to rewrite your study plan and then your CV.
I forgot to thank many OAD members who are already doing PhD, but they are here to listen and to also take the message to their people. Want to take note of what you've done, and it's a beautiful thing. Please take the message to your people and help them, even though you may not need scholarship right now. We know that there are a lot of people coming up to you, so you can share with them from the experiences you've gathered here. Really beautiful, and looking forward to interacting further as the days unfold in next Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, cheese. I want to take the first photo. Okay, on the first room, cheese. Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay, I'm moving to the second room now. Okay. Oh, okay.
I cannot see my picture here.
You can see yourself?
Yeah.
I can see you, don't worry.
Doctor, if you see me, it's okay.
You can show up your page.
So how looks? Is it okay?
Yes, you're handsome, bro.
It's nice.
But you don't have to stroll.
Ammar.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy to see you here, bro.
Yeah, again.
Great, yeah.
As usual.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you receive the certificate yet?
No, I'm going to complain about that issue